What happens if you achieve the things that you say that you want? What happens if you get there? Just imagine for a second.
Life is so difficult and challenging that unless you give it everything you have, the chances are very high that it will embitter you, and then you'll be a force for darkness and not good. And so, the fact that life is short and can be brutal can terrify you into hiding and avoiding, but it can also, you can flip that on its head and understand that since you're all in anyways, you might as well take the risks that are adventurous.
In my mind, it wasn't hard. It wasn't going to be hard because there was no other option. All my eggs were in this basket, and I was very happy with that choice. I put every last egg in this thing. Nothing else matters but this. I promise you, I will figure it out.
No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. The bottom line is, no one's coming. No one.
The truth is, we don't know how much time we've got. But we know we're here and now. And the only thing we've really got is what's right here in the center. Right now. If we want to enjoy more of life, we've got to give everything we've got right now. Let's not plan, in the future I'll do it. Or let's not be sad about what didn't happen in the past. You see, it reminds me that all I've got is right now.
It's a very instrumental view of life, that everything is done in order to achieve the next thing. So at no point do you actually arrive. It's a great question. Okay, when are you going to arrive? Tell me when you're going to arrive.
Everybody has dreams. Following your dreams is a lonely, solitary, scary, dangerous pursuit. You can't wait for somebody to think you can do it. And it's like, because they don't think you can do nothing they can't do.
Exactly, bingo.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lonely, scary, dangerous pursuit, and you got to be willing to risk everything to become that seed of what you believe is in there. You got to be fearless, you got to be relentless.
Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just remind myself, this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. Building a business is hard. Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like, and this is why most people can't do it, but you can. This is what hard feels like.
Mm-hmm. No one's gonna come to help me. It's me against me, period. And so I had to man up. And I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have, no matter what the fuck it is, man. And these things would keep me up. And people who are hearing this shit, they will never really understand.
It's the idea of like going, it's not repetition, it's iteration. It's like lots of different, doing the same thing again and again doesn't make you better, but like tweaking it and knowing what to tweak is that you have to listen to an inner critic.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play, and anything else that was outside of that lane I didn't have time for. I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
Clear about it.
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game.
If your life is not great, it's because you are messing up. That's the name of the game. But unsuccessful people, broke people, instead of looking at themselves in the mirror and assuming responsibility, they want to point it.
Everything is your fault.
Yeah, you can explain it.
Everything is your fault comes back to like you are the CEO of your life. He said, Rob, if you get to the end of your life and it's not what you wanted it to be, and you didn't create the life that you wanted to, make the money that you wanted to, have the success, the love, the happiness, travel the places that you wanted to, whose fault would it be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, if you did create the life that you wanted to, had the love, the happiness, the abundance, everything that you wanted, whose fault would that be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, the problem with you is you're treating this life as if you're the victim. And what you need to realize is that everything that happens to you is your fault, and that your life won't change until you decide that you want to be the CEO of your life.
What the do you expect? You're not putting in the work. You have to do more. You gotta stop telling yourself that you're doing enough. In life, it's never enough until you feel this overwhelming feeling of shit, man. I'm outworking the crowd. I'm outworking everybody. I'm doing more. It's not until then, once you get there, that's when you know you've done enough. Stay hard.
And you have to want it so badly. You have to want that result so badly that you are willing to put in more time, more effort, more focus, more hours. And just, you don't get to smell the roses, man. You don't get to pet the puppies.
You realize, well, why are you putting time into something in the beginning that you don't want to see through? Why? Or just because you have like a rough moment or a rough patch, why is it so easy for you to quit? Why is the idea of quit so quick to you to come up with, and why are you so comfortable with the results of that? I shouldn't be, and that shouldn't be my motto.
We need to get stronger. We need to get ballsier. We need to get tougher. We need to not be afraid of failure. We got to go and do the work. We got to face adversity. Adversity breeds character. The strength and fighting and resistance, it does not only make the muscle grow, but it makes also your head grow, makes you a stronger person. We have to be willing to go through hardship, through suffering, through pain, through crying periods. All of that stuff, don't shy away from any of that, because it just makes you stronger.
And if you wait till you know everything, the opportunity's gone. And that's true not just in finance, I think that's true in life.
Yes.
Right? We wait till we have absolute certainty. There's no absolute certainty in life. The only absolute certainty is faith. The fastest way to change your life is start making some real decisions.
Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on the obstacles in the way of you doing the thing isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing.
But I try to reframe that pain that comes from doing the things that I don't want to do the things that I do want to do, as the price tag required to become the person that I want to become.
And I would rather fall short of a big goal and consider myself a failure than lower the goals to the level which I can accomplish all of them just so I can feel like I'm a success. And it's less about the goal setting, and it's more about the mindset of being okay being the failure. Because what it does is it frees you to imagine bigger, take risks like you never imagined you could before, because failure is not the thing you're afraid of.
How on earth do you think that you're going to be able to move mountains and get out of that relationship that you don't like and move countries or change career when you can't not hit snooze, even though last night you promised yourself that you weren't going to hit snooze? And it's how people that are able to do extraordinary things have been able to get there, that they've just started off unbelievably small.
It's a pain to start at the bottom, but you start at the bottom where you're weak. And if you want to rectify what's weak, you have to accept the fact that you're at the bottom and that the first steps are going to be painful.
Well, I'll just say I came to a place in life where I just didn't like me anymore. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I will not spend the next 50 years with this guy like I have the last 50. I don't like me. Nobody around likes me. I can't.
Missing out on risk is that we have this big fear of this thing, when the reality is that if you risk nothing, you become nothing. You are nothing, because nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're not going to get what you want by never risking what you have. And the thing is that the things that we have aren't always material. And I think this is actually one of the big misconceptions of people who are starting out, is like, I can easily stand here and say, you were the most dangerous in the beginning because you have nothing to lose.
And I think that if most people could figure out like, oh yeah, well, I want to do this thing. Why do you want to do it? And my very first one-on-one coach used to say to me, he would say, what's your why? What's your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? He would like hammer it home in my head. And I was like, why do you ask this so much? And he would always say, because if your why is strong enough, your how will reveal itself. If you know why you want to do something, how it's going to be done, you'll figure out. It doesn't matter. Things are going to get in your way. There's going to be obstacles. There's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be moments of like, I don't know if I can do this. But if your why is so strong, it's like, I don't care what comes up in front of me. I'm going to get it done.
But you have an excuse that only you need to believe. And you believe that excuse, so it excuses you from working harder on the stuff you know you should be doing but aren't. And that work, the work you know you should be doing but aren't, is the opportunity, because that is the work that your competitors also aren't doing.
A lot of us believe that we're working much harder than we actually are. We think if we got up early for 4 days, we've earned something. You gotta drop your entitled mindset. It's dead weight. We believe we work harder than we actually have. Trust me, most of us haven't. The one thing in life you gotta realize is this: learn to help yourselves. Don't count on other people to help you.
Just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's good. And there's a lot of things that you do that are very difficult to do, and then you see other people have achieved them, you say that must be really worthwhile, and then you do it and you realize like, oh, this isn't worth anything, this is just hard to do.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition, it's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life, rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. You know, I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
You need to work on yourself. If you just try to be pampered, and if you're trying to be soft, and if you're trying to be the victim and all stuff, you're not going to go anywhere. I mean, I pretend, and I do the big spiel, right? You know, I'm the greatest bodybuilder.
The schmay?
The schmay, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
So I do all of that, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, in reality, I don't see myself as the star. I just see myself as a worker. And so when people then say, you're so nice, you eat with the crew, I feel like I'm the crew. I'm just one of them, right?
You lose the pack. You lose the pack because the pack is like, I want it here. And because it didn't show up here, I gotta go figure out a new thing to do that's gonna give it to me here. And they gotta recycle, like...
They lose focus.
Yes, you're never completing anything. You never finish nothing. So the thing that you think you're focusing on, you keep quitting to start something else that you think is the idea, and it's just a cycle.
But if you are able to get up every morning, have no passion, no drive, no motivation, no shit, and still get up with that kind of fire, you will be successful in life. I guarantee you that.
Discipline. It's all about discipline, doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. That's what it's all about. But if you don't have discipline, I don't care how skillful you are, you're nothing.
All you have control over is how you direct your attention and how you comport yourself. What are the actions that you're taking, how you're responding to the world around you. And when you drill that down into the tiniest little things that you're doing every single day and try to repeat that with just rigorous, relentless consistency, that is how you move mountains, that's how you build mountains, that's how you change your life. It fucking sucks, and I wish it wasn't that way. I didn't do them willingly. I did them because I was in so much fucking pain that I was boxed into a corner and felt like the only way out was through.
If you want to be exceptional, what you're doing right now is average or even below average. And if you want to continue to be average or below average your whole life, then continue doing this. But you need to make a serious change and start doing hard shit and letting go of the easy shit, the comfortable, pleasurable shit. Abstain from that to make a better version of yourself.
Which is why for me, doing is being. Then it goes into, okay, if doing is being, then who I am is what I do, rather than who I am is what other people think I do. And so that means that when external circumstances get bad, what do I do? That is who I am. By shifting that perspective, your identity becomes rooted in the actions that you can control. Your identity becomes under your control.
Wisdom comes from experience, and experience takes time. The more experience you have, the more you learn from that experience, the wiser you can get. If you haven't lived long enough to have a broad enough portfolio of experience, then you can't expect to have knowledge and wisdom.
struggle doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It usually means you're on a real one, right? Struggle doesn't mean you're making a mistake. Struggle could mean that you have a lot to learn to get to this goal. If you have something you really value, don't change what you value. Change the path to get there. Pain isn't proof of misalignment. It's proof you're growing. It's proof it matters. And ultimately, it reveals to you whether it matters enough.
Your biggest enemy is you. My whole book is about you battling yourself. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
You have to be willing to delay gratification for an extended period of time and eat glass, and that eating of glass is seeing how many failures you have until you get it right. And this is the difference between small businesses and big businesses, is their willingness to put up with that long period of time of getting the product right. And then once you get it right, you can scale to the moon because you will make more than everyone else on your back end.
Because sometimes the correct course is the most painful path. Because the highest leverage move often is the hardest problem that you're not choosing to allocate attention towards solving. I think you have to be willing to stomach that period of time, or you will never be able to do the real solutions that are really going to move the needle. Because most business owners will do the second, third, fourth thing, the incremental improvements, rather than the order of magnitude change that typically take order of magnitudes in terms of time and effort.
You can believe you're not worthy of a thing and still attain it. You can be adamant that your efforts are going to go badly and still succeed. You can have no self-belief and show up anyway. You'd ever get to. Self-belief is overrated. Generate evidence, says Ryan Holiday. And this resilience of doing good things in spite of you not believing in them or believing that they're going to happen is pretty miraculous.
Mental toughness, you've taught me. The definition of that is disciplined thinking and disciplined action under pressure and fatigue. So discipline to commit to things even when, especially when you don't feel like it. The alarm clock goes off at 5:30 in the morning, 5 a.m. It's raining outside, it's dark, it's wet. Every ounce of me that just wants to pull the duvet over my head. But champions do not negotiate with themselves in those moments. It's doing it, especially when you don't feel like it.
Nobody has the confidence in the decisions that you're making for yourself like you do. So if you're waiting for that to connect in the beginning stages, it may or may not. If it doesn't, it shouldn't prevent you from like following through on whatever the line of like go is for you. The money is never coming fast. The only consequence is failure. By the way, not trying is failing.
Yeah, well said.
I want to make that very clear.
Well said, yeah.
Not trying is failing. There's a lot of things that people can't do simply because you've never tried to do it. And I'm not saying that you should try everything. I'm not saying that you're supposed to do everything. I'm saying that for me, when someone says something and I go, no, I never did that. I have to have a reason for why I've never done it and a justification. If you ask me something and I go, no, and you just say why, and I go, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
I like to have a reason why. And that's the foundation that I stand on.
In life, folks, you cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got.
For me, it always comes back to perseverance, persistence, high pain tolerance, an ability to suffer through discomfort, a welcoming of doing hard things, and willingness, really. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do different? How willing are you? Are you willing to make this your number one priority? And a lot of people will put words to that, but only time will tell whether those words are followed up by the action that demonstrates the level of willingness that is required to actualize anything of meaning in this world.
I have to do more, and I have to do better, I have to be better, I have to work harder, I have to take myself to the limits and further, because now that's my standard.
Yeah, go into that hellhole of life that you have that f***ed you up and fix it.
And that's what I'm here to do.
You got to go to war with yourself before there's peace.
That's what I say in the
That's
book.
what you say in the book.
You must go to war with yourself before you find peace. So I'm trying to give you tools on how to do that. And I'm not considering to smile and be happy about it. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It's a journey that's going to take you way outside of being comfortable. You'll be very, very uncomfortable.
What have you got to lose?
Exactly. And that was it. And it was like, I have nothing to lose. And that was when I think in the last podcast we talked about this, where it's like, if everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as, I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person.
If I'm running on a treadmill and I get to mile 9 and I get complete cramp in one of my legs, and I know I've told myself I'm going to run 10 kilometers today, he goes, I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience. And I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard.
Can I deal with the fact that this is painful for me? And the answer is, the fact that it is painful is the reason that it's working.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't you stepping out, everybody else that has to try and step out into this new life faces this same thing too. Every single person does. That's why most people don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what hard feels like, and this is why most people don't win. So continuing to push through and almost seeing that level of discomfort as a signal, it's like a way marker that's been planted in the ground. Yes, more this way.
If you're in it and you have said, this is what I'm destined to do and I'm gonna give my all, and every day I show up with 100%, regardless of the outcome, I'm showing up with 100%. That day gonna come. Whenever it comes, I'm gonna be ready. It's gonna come. I'm gonna get my just due and my fulfilling like need and energy and want for knowing that I have just delivered for myself. That's what I compete with. That's why I look at the mirror.
You have to stay in that third painful place, because staying in the pain is what gives you the catalyst to learn how to get out of pain. And so rather than trying to pull your parachute, it's like, I have to trudge through this so that it forces me to learn.
If you don't develop a routine of suffering, and suffering is not like go out and kill yourself every day, it's being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That keeps you hungry every day.
And so the reason that the background on my phone, like, I'm so passionate about this, like, the background on my phone is 2 words. It's just win. That's it. It's just win. When I think about that, it's like, no one cares. Just no one cares. No one's going to ask, how many people did you get help with before you failed? They just are going to know whether you failed or not. The fear that people have when they're starting out is that they say things like, I have nothing going for me. I have no advantages. I have nothing to my name. I have no money. I have no network. I have no resources. But using Rory Sutherland's reframing, it also means that you have nothing to lose, which makes you incredibly dangerous. And I think people wildly underestimate how many shots on goal you can take when you have nothing to lose. Whereas when someone has something to lose, they have to be more and more selective about the shots they take. And so you have the perfect conditions for taking risk, because the worst case scenario is baseline, is where you're currently at. A lot of people wait for perfect conditions to start, but don't realize that starting is the perfect condition.
Every fucking day I wake up and I don't want to do some shit. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a today? Do you want to feel like a little bitch? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? So it's perform without purpose. You have to learn how to get up and do shit when you ain't got no fucking 5K, no 10K, nothing. Nothing exists. Your life fucking sucks.
I actually think the greatest consequence in life is not keeping commitments to yourself. And I think that compounds to, as we talked about, where does beliefs come from? I think it compounds as personal evidence, which is deposited in this instruction manual of who you are and how you behave and how you show up and what you're capable of. All those tiny little commitments. And then I think you can get into a downward commitment spiral because of that, because you think you're
you don't have faith in your own word.
And it evolved into just like a no-quit mentality. It's accepting these fears I have, this doubt I have, this everything that goes through my mind, but regardless of that, not quitting and not giving up on myself. No matter how hard is the time of what I'm going through and whatever shit I feel, I'm going to still put in the same work regardless of how I feel, and that's a champion mentality, because the champion's not controlled by their outside circumstances. They control their own mind inside and how they act.
I can't remember where this quote is, but I think Leonardo da Vinci said this actually. I think he said something to the degree of like, the curse of the winner is not that he aims too high and misses, but that he shoots too low and he achieves his goal. And I think that you can't have your own respect if you know that you left some in the tank, which is why going bigger and asking yourself, am I capable of this, is the only way that you can ever truly see.
This is not for you in the first 5 years of doing whatever you're doing. Like, end yourself. That's the job. The job is nose goes against grindstone, sleep is out of the window, the candle gets burned on 3 ends. That's what you're supposed to do.
But you have to have the will, the heart, the courage to go that distance when you're exactly jacked up. You have nothing left to give, and give more.
That is an interesting thing about the mind, is that you can find inspiration, and when you find inspiration, when you get charged up, all of a sudden you have energy.
That's right.
It's right. It's weird.
And I talk about in the book also, is about, I learned how to control my adrenals. If you know how you get that fight or flight response when you get to move real quick.
Yeah.
And I started learning the mind a lot, how to get myself jacked.
I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience. And I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard, because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching.
If you say you're going to do something, do it. Be a man of your word. You're not going to succumb to the easy pleasures. You're going to value delayed gratification over easy gratification. You're going to respect every single person that you meet. You're not going to lie. You're not going to bullshit. You're going to work hard. If you're going to do something, you're going to do it with intention rather than half-assing it.
There's this quote from the ancient Greeks that says, live as though all your ancestors were living again through you. I really love that. This sort of, we judge people based on how much life they can tolerate, how much feeling they can deal with and carry and enjoy. And that's something that we should all try and have more of in ourselves, being that person that your younger self wanted as a role model.
I asked myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting.
Fellas, you'll not get there if you quit, if you just say, forget it. You know, I can't be the man that I wanted to be. Well, of course you're not right now. You will not be the man that you want to be until you grow into it. You have to grow into it.
I can never leave the gym knowing I have 5% left. And 5% is magic. It's the magic place where very few people go. You can go there. I'm giving you permission to go there. We'll have people behind you. If you fall down and drop the weight on the floor, who cares? Who cares? But if you make it, I care. I want that. I want you to fail, and I want you to get up and do it again. The same thing in life is the same thing here. If you can do this, you can do anything. Anything.
Think of going to the gym, telling yourself, I believe in myself. That won't build muscle unless you pick up the weights. But it's great that it made you show up, so it's important. It's just incomplete. The moment you take action, your life will change. The moment you take action, clarity replaces confusion. The moment you take action, momentum begins.
What I want to do is dramas, but Hollywood won't offer me no matter how big of a pay cut I take. So I said, all right, if I can't do what I want to do, I'm gonna quit doing what I've been doing. So chose to, boom, go to the ranch in Texas. Camilla's pregnant. Told my agent, no more rom-coms, Don't know how long that's gonna last. Made that decision with Camilla, and we said, look, I'm gonna make this decision. There's no telling how long we're gonna go with that work. But if we're making the decision, like Australia, it's non-negotiable. We're not going back on it.
You're not going to break me. No matter what you say, I'll die right here in this water. I don't care. And that mindset has really been beneficial throughout the entire process. Because there's parts of BUD/S and parts of being in special operations where you think it's going to kill you. And then at a certain point, you just don't care. If it kills me, I don't care. And you get through it.
The greatest of all qualities to guarantee success is the absolute willingness to go at anything and refuse to stop until you achieve it. And you know something? The statistics show that 95% of the goals that you set for yourself, you will achieve if you refuse to quit.
I want to talk to you because I've never seen a student in my 30 years who can stand in front of all these other kids and mesmerize and hold their attention for 30 or 45 minutes and influence them. He said, you have a gift. And I'm looking at him like he's crazy. He says, there's something about how much you care and something about your intensity, something about your style. I have a speech here that I'd like you to read, and if it appeals to you, he said, I think this is your life. I read this story, the title was The Will to Win, and it was my life. It was like, I could cry just thinking about it. It was so intense. I mean, reading it and crying, just going, I'm only here still, all that I've been through because of my pure will that I will not give up.
Before you win, everyone will ask you why you're working so hard. And after you win, everyone will ask you why you're working so hard. If that doesn't just go to show that most people are not worth listening to,